ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930 present The Drive. Winner of the 2024 West Virginia Broadcasters Association Excellence in Broadcasting Award for Best Talk Show.
It is Thursday, July 11th. Your drive begins now on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. I'm your host, Paul Swann. Our text line this hour is 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Coming up this hour, we're going to be joined by Steve Jecewiz. He is the postgraduate boys basketball coach at Combine Academy. He's going to discuss Marshall freshman Erich Harding. Harding's a 6'10" freshman set to play Marshall. And we'll find out a little bit more about him coming up with Coach Jecewiz. Also, we will get your text in, obviously, and we're trying to, throughout the next couple of weeks, we're trying to talk to some of the coaches for some of these incoming freshmen. Of course, when you get players come in from the transfer portal, it's kind of harder to talk to their high school coach because they're a few years separated. High school freshmen coming in, it's always more fun to find out a little bit more about these players. So Coach Jecewiz joins us in the next few minutes. We had a busy day today. Baseball action just concluding a few minutes ago. The Pirates get the win over the Brewers, 1-0. Pirates start a 3-game series at Chicago against the White Sox. 7:45 is going to be our airtime tomorrow right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Did you listen to the game earlier? As I mentioned, we just got off the air with the Pirates not that long ago. And pitching, saving the day once again. Paul Swann, fanned 11. Had 7 hitless frames. 7 hitless over, I thought, could have been 8, 9, or 10, depending on how this game went. He kept them. The Pirates finally got on the board. This thing ended 1-0. I would have liked to seen him go the distance, but still, 7 hitless frames, fanned 11. So he's in the record books with Nolan Ryan. That's not a bad way to get your career started. I mean, he is a rookie all-star. He's the best pitcher right now going. Pirates are lucky to have him. Hopefully the Pirates can keep him for a long time to come. He was fun to listen to today, fun to watch. Definitely, if you're a Pirates fan, you got to be excited about that. But tomorrow, White Sox on the schedule for the Pirates. Reds, they have a home series with Miami tomorrow at 7:10. Before that, they had to take care of business with the Colorado Rockies, and they took care of that 8-1. And then the Tigers beat the Guardians 10-1 today. Guardians start a series with Tampa Bay tomorrow at 6:50. So busy day for all our area teams. Last night, the Cats get the win over Johnson City 10-5. They not only get the win, but they secured the franchise's first ever no-hitter. So this is the Cats' first no-hitter. Now, they did allow some runners on base, but nobody got a hit. Victory also ended the Cats' 6-game losing streak. And so the Cats are now 11-20, while Johnson City dropped to 14-15. Road trip continues tonight. They're at Elizabethton. 7 o'clock, you can head over to the Tri-State Cats website, watch the video stream. And then after the series with Elizabethton, which will be tonight and tomorrow, Cats will have a matchup against the Pulaski River Turtles. And that's coming up on Saturday and Sunday before the Cats head back to the friendly confines of Jack Cook Field. There are a couple of promotions that are coming up. Since we're getting closer to next week, a couple of things you might want to know about as far as the Cats are concerned. It's going to be Big Buck Country Legends Night. What's that mean? Get your Cowboys boots ready. You get free admission if you wear a cowboy hat or cowboy boots. So our producer, our intern, Ben Anderson, is going to have his shiniest cowboy boots and his cowboy hat going in to this one on July 16th for Big Buck Country Legends Night. And Rob McNerlin's going to be performing. So he will have a performance at the game. He's also going to sing the national anthem. And it's Paul's in the Park night. You can bring your pets to the game. So big night of baseball coming up on the 16th. We'll tell you more about it as we get closer to it. Atlantic League action. Gastonia got the better of Charleston 16-9. That series finishes tonight, 6:35 p.m. at Go-Mart Ballpark. Big news today for the Thundering Herd, and especially for Abby Herring. She was nominated for NCAA Woman of the Year. So she's had just a tremendous career at Marshall and an outstanding performance with the track and field team and the cross-country team. She got the nomination, which recognizes a graduating female student athlete who has excelled in academics, athletics, community service, and leadership. So the nomination was submitted. We're going to find out more here in the next few days if she will be the conference selection. Conference selections we'll find out by July 31st. So we will find out if she is going to be, hopefully, on her way to the NCAA Woman of the Year award. That would be a tremendous honor for her. She had a tremendous go of it. First Marshall woman to qualify for NCAA cross-country championship, had several personal bests and school records, broke 2 Sun Belt Conference records, 4-time all-conference cross-country runner. A lot of community work with her as well. So, this is a full package award. This isn't just based on stats. It's based on the full package of what you bring to college athletics inside the classroom, outside the classroom, inside the community. Big deal. And I think we should definitely celebrate that. We're going to try to get Abby to come on the show. Abby almost becoming a regular on the show. At some point, she's just going to guest host the show or maybe just take it over. She's been so good. We're going to try to get her back on the program here in the near future. So I'm looking forward to that. Some other big news coming out of the conference today. This is a big deal, I think, especially for the Sun Belt. It really shows what kind of work Keith Gill has been doing. The commissioner of the league has been elevated to vice chair of the NCAA Division I Men's Basketball Committee. That's for the 24-25 season, and he'll be the chair of the group for the 25-26 campaign. That's a big deal. He's right now in a 5-year term on the committee, and that will go from, it started with the 21-22 season, that'll go all the way up to the 25-26 season. And, of course, the committee, you know what the committee does, selecting, seeding, bracketing teams for March Madness. And this is huge for him. This is absolutely huge for him. It's also huge for the league. It gives the league a little bit more prestige. As a side note, Indianapolis has been approved as the host site for the 2026 Division II and III Men's Basketball Championship games and the NIT semifinals and finals. And all of those events will coincide with the men's Final Four weekend. So Indianapolis is starting to become a real major sports hub. If it wasn't already, it's got all the big NCAA events. It's going to have WrestleMania. It's going to have SummerSlam. I know I'm missing one of those. It's going to have all the big wrestling events as well. It's becoming a hub for sports activity, not just college, but professional as well. So that's a big deal. Indianapolis, a lot of people say, well, what do you do in Indianapolis? I don't think that's what you worry about. What do you do in Indianapolis? I think you just go to Indianapolis because that's the place that's set up to host all of these events. I still want to know what you do in Indianapolis outside of these events, though. Hey, what do you do? If you're hanging out in Indianapolis for the Final Four, what do you do in Indianapolis? What is there to do? That's a big question. Not one we're going to answer today, but that's a big question. All right, when we continue, we're going to turn our attention to Marshall basketball. We've got on the program Steve Jecewiz. He is the postgraduate boys basketball coach at Combine Academy. He's going to tell us a little bit more about Erich Harding. We'll do that when we continue on today's edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Appliances are a major part of our lives. There's no way around it. So when you're upgrading your appliances or repairing them, you need someone you can trust. You need M&K Maytag in Proctorville. M&K Maytag has been serving the Tri-State since 1982. They're locally owned and operated, so they understand your needs. They offer fast and safe delivery as well, because they know your time is valuable. If you need new appliances, parts, or service, It's M&K Maytag in Proctorville, 740-886-7795. Online at mnkmaytag.com.
The Greenup County Public Library is wrapping up the summer reading program this month with an event that you won't want to miss. The wrap-up party will be held at the Greenup Branch on July 15th, at Flatwoods July 16th, and at McHale July 18th from 6 to 8 p.m. at each location. Enjoy an evening of pizza, prizes, and fun with books offered for sale. For information on other great events this month, check out the Greenup County Public Library Facebook page or visit the website greenuplib.org for complete details.
Calling all brave souls, it's Go-Mart's Summer of Spooky Savings. Now through July 31st, join the hunt for bonus reward points. Purchase specially marked items and earn points and unlock tokens for the most haunted spots in West Virginia. From Lake Shawnee to the Trans-Allegheny Asylum, unleash the spirits and collect all 7 tokens to earn 5,000 bonus reward points. Plus, stop in for a scare on Tuesdays and triple your bonus points with each purchase. To join the hunt, download the Go-Mart app today.
Ready to make this summer your best one yet? At Bluegrass Strip, we believe it's never too late to achieve your ideal summer body that you can maintain throughout the entire year. Say goodbye to those insecurities and say hello to newfound confidence. With our weekly semi-glued height injections, losing weight and keeping it off is easier than ever. Take charge of your health and well-being while transforming your body. Visit Bluegrass Strip in Ashland today and discover how we can help you reach your goals. Visit us online at bluegrassstrip.com to get started today.
This summer, get tires built for the pursuit of happiness. At TikTok Tire, get up to $60 via reward card or virtual prepaid card after online submission on purchases of 4 or more of the new BF Goodrich passenger or light truck tires totaling $900 or more. At TikTok Tire, tire purchases totaling $899.99 or less get $40. Offer valid June 29th through July 15th. See bfgoodrichtires.com for full details. BF Goodrich, what are you building for? Stop in today, TikTok Tire, 3rd Avenue, Huntington.
Okay, forest animals, today is a new day. Kids are coming to the forest, and it's up to us to make their visit a good one. Sparrow.
Yes?
Have you practiced the most popular bird songs for the year?
Of course.
Catchy. I like it. Okay, River.
Dude.
How's the temperature?
It's a refreshing 52 degrees, man. Perfect for a little riverside shoeless relaxation.
Ah, good. Owl, you here? Course. Who's asking? I am. Look, you know the drill. Sleep during the day, scare the kids at night. Perfect. I love my job. Oak tree?
What's up?
Still in the same place I left you last year. That's what I like. Consistency.
Well, it's not like I'm going anywhere for the next couple hundred years.
I know. I love it. Turtle. Turtle.
He's not here yet, man.
He's late every morning. You'd think you would have learned by now to leave the night before our meetings. Okay. Squirrel. Has anybody seen Mr. Squirrel?
The forest has been preparing just for you. Visit a forest near you today. To learn more about cool things to do in the forest, visit discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
This is The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
Welcome back to our Thursday edition of The Drive here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Our text line's open this hour. It's 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. We've been getting set for football season, of course, but there's a lot of talk about basketball season. We're not that far away from the start of basketball season, and we're trying to learn a little bit more about some of the newcomers that are going to be playing for Marshall coach Cornelius Jackson. And one of those players is Erich Harding. He played at Combine Academy. And joining us now on the program to tell us a little bit more about this young man, Steve Jecewiz. He is the postgraduate boys basketball coach at Combine Academy. Coach, thanks for joining us today.
Oh, thanks for having me, Paul.
What can you tell us about Erich? We know the stats. He's a pretty big player. He's 6'10" forward. He's got a huge wingspan. We know the stats. What do we need to know about him as an individual?
It starts off character-wise. He's a tremendous kid. Just adapts to any environment. All of his teammates, coaches, they all love him. I've seen Erich now for probably over 2.5 years, and every time you see him, the kid just rapidly improves. From his frame, even being pretty skinny at the start of this year, to I think now he's already up to 222 pounds, I heard. So just night and day in terms of his skill set, his body. He's really come a long way. Our team this year was was really good. We advanced all the way to the National Final Four. We were ranked as high as number 3 in the country. So this wasn't a team like you see often nowadays where, there might be just 1 or 2 big kids on the team. He was going up against a 6'9" kid who's also going Division I every day in practice, 2 other 6'10" to 6'7" big, and a ton of guards that he'd have to switch on to, going all different levels as well. So he got challenged every day in practice. Those bigs would beat up on each other every single day, just really different games that he had to guard. One kid was an absolute maniac on the glass. Another kid could stretch the floor and shoot. So it was kind of an iron sharpens iron approach that really just helped him rapidly improve throughout the year. And he's a winner. He helped us win a lot of big games.
Steve Jecewiz is with us. He is the postgraduate boys basketball coach at Combine Academy. Erich Harding will be playing for the Thundering Herd. What was his recruiting process like? How much insight did you have in that process, and why do you think Marshall was the best fit for him?
They showed a lot of love to him right away. I think that coaching staff just really trusted their evaluation. I think nowadays it's so much of one school offers a kid, and then the next school just kind of jumps on him. But Coach Jackson was actually the one who first identified Erich in the fall, and he showed his film to Coach D'Antoni at the time, and Coach D'Antoni just fell in love with him. So, even with Coach Jackson taking over now, Coach Jackson was the one that first fell in love with him and, just really fit their style of play. He went for a visit there and felt wanted, felt loved, and saw the fit. So it ended up being a pretty easy and obvious decision for Erich.
How do you envision them using him? Where do you see he fits the most on the floor with what you know so far of Marshall and what they're trying to put together?
Yeah, I think his ability to now stretch the floor, which he probably didn't really have as much 2 years ago. He's really good in the dunker spot as well. So I think just the way that Marshall kind of plays with space, I think you can use him in some different spots. Plays well out of pick and roll, pick and pop situations. So I think he's a very versatile big offensively.
And he's pretty physical. You mentioned he can get up there. He can bang with the best of them, I'm sure. And is that a style of play he likes? What does he like the most as far as when he goes out there to play?
I think he plays really well using ball screens. His post game's gotten good. He's got a really good touch inside. I think as his frame has really picked up and he's put on weight and strength, and as you said, I think he's willing to bang with everyone inside. But also now adding that different dynamic of being able to stretch the floor just makes him that much more dangerous offensively.
Steve Jecewiz is with us, postgraduate boys basketball coach at Combine Academy. Erich Harding will be a freshman for the Thundering Herd, playing for Cornelius Jackson. And yeah, you alluded to Coach Jackson's the one that really identified him. So there really wasn't that much concern that things would change too much when Dan D'Antoni stepped aside. And, of course, Coach Jackson took over the position. There's a lot of opportunity when a coaching change happens for schools to try to swoop in and land players. Did we see any of that from your end once Coach D'Antoni was no longer the head coach, of teams trying to swoop in and try to steal him away?
No, because from Marshall's standpoint, it all happened pretty quickly. So I think by the time we found out, it was a very short period in between when Coach Jackson reached out to Erich and made sure he knew he was still very wanted at Marshall and fit Coach Jackson's plans for the future as well. There was definitely no wavering or anything in that regard.
Steve Jecewiz is with us again, postgraduate boys basketball coach at Combine Academy. We're talking about Erich Harding, who will be a freshman coming in. And he's in a unique situation. He's coming in. It's almost a new-look team for the Thundering Herd. A lot of roster additions. So he's not necessarily going to be just the only new guy, especially as a freshman with the transfer portal being what it is these days. he's got a unique situation where I'm sure he's going to compete for a starting opportunity or at least a lot of playing time right away.
Yeah, that was actually Coach D'Antoni's message to him in the fall was, redshirting or kind of wasting a year, not playing as much. That wasn't an option early on. It was pretty clear that they're recruiting everybody who they think has an opportunity to come in, really earn some minutes, and help that team win games. So, the reality is these rosters change now rapidly in college basketball. Not too many rosters do look very similar from year to year. So, those 13 scholarships that each team has are very valuable. So, it's a great opportunity for Erich to go into a spot where, a lot of positions probably are open competition for minutes. So I would love to see Erich compete and really earn his way into a significant role with that team.
What's he like as far as his ambitions outside of basketball? Marshall seemed to be the right place for him as a basketball fit, but what do you like about Marshall maybe to pursue as far as his educational aspirations and his future?
It just felt home. It felt like home for him. He's a very simple kid. So he just felt at home. I think that's really the simplest way to put it. A simple kid that just really felt at home there.
What's he plan on being when he grows up? And of course, we're talking about someone who's 6'10". So when he grows up, what's he looking to do after basketball's over?
That's a good question. I wish I knew the answer to that one.
So do you? Yeah, he doesn't know then, right? He's still in that that phase where it's all open.
I'm not sure. I wish I knew. I'm sure, like a lot of kids today, they probably aspire to play basketball at a higher level. But yeah, in terms of professions outside of basketball, I wish I had a little bit more insight for you with that one.
I'm sure he'll figure that out soon enough because he'll have plenty of time to do so at Marshall. We're talking about Erich Harding. My guest is Steve Jecewiz. He is the postgraduate boys basketball coach at Combine Academy. So Marshall getting a good player. He's going to probably be the tallest kid on the roster when he gets in there and really figures out where he is. He's probably going to realize at some point, if he hasn't already, I'm the biggest guy here, so I can't get pushed around.
I hope so. I hope he realizes
that.
I hope he already realized that day one. I hope that's not an issue going forward.
Is he one of those kids that's just a natural leader when he's on the court? Is he someone that a lot of other players look to as far as leadership? Is he someone that prefers to be more of a role player? What's his kind of mindset when it comes to that?
I think he can be that. I look at him more maybe in other areas like the weight room where he can be that guy that kind of pushes guys to get going a little bit. He's not the loudest guy on the court, but definitely has been coached enough at various levels, even through AAU, playing for some good coaches over the years, where he understands concepts and he knows to compete and be loud, be vocal. So I think he does that well. Probably as a freshman, not going to be the loudest guy in the room, but I think that's something over time that he can grow into at Marshall.
So he's pretty much a gym rat. Loves the film study as well.
Definitely. He has multiple trainers throughout the Charlotte area that have actually done a really good job with him. Just working with him in various areas of the game. Both of his parents were basketball players growing up as well, so he's been around basketball his whole life, and his game's really just taken off in the last 2+ years here.
I'm kind of curious. You mentioned being in that Charlotte area. What was his experiences like prior to visiting Marshall? You mentioned he fell in love with the place, but West Virginia, for a lot of people, they don't know what it's about until they get here. Had he been to West Virginia before? Was that just an eye-opening experience for him when he got here?
I think it was eye-opening in the sense that basketball matters there. You know, you don't have your NBA team or anything in the state. You know, he went there and really realized right away that Marshall basketball matters in Huntington and throughout the entire state. So he felt a part of something really big. He felt the love. You know, again, as I said, that was his first offer. A couple other schools jumped in there and offered after the case. But, you know, in terms of Marshall, he just knew that was some genuine love. They had a plan for him, and they were aggressive in their pursuit with him in a short period of time.
Steve Jecewiz is with us, the postgraduate boys basketball coach at Combine Academy. Erich Harding coming in as a freshman. Anything else we should know about him before we let you go? Anything we missed?
No, I don't think so. I think it's just a rapidly developing kid who has a really bright future. You know, he's come a long way in 2+ years, and I'm really excited to follow Erich and the entire program these next couple of years. I'm looking forward to seeing Erich have a great career over at Marshall.
Coach, thanks for doing it, and I appreciate it. And hopefully we can maybe get some more of your kids to come up to Huntington.
Oh, absolutely. I would love that.
Thanks, Coach.
Okay, thank you.
That is Steve Jecewiz. He is the postgraduate boys basketball coach at Combine Academy. Erich Harding will be a freshman for the Thundering Herd. 6'10". He's going to be right there with Wyatt Fricks as far as being one of the biggest guys on the roster. When we continue, we'll get your text in. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. More coming up on today's edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
America Strong. It's what we're all about. And to keep America strong, all Glockner locations are offering our lowest live market prices so you save big. And with our partnership with Kelley Blue Book, the Glockner buying centers are able to offer $2,000 above current market value for your current vehicle. That's how we're keeping America strong at the Glockner family of dealerships.
We make it easy at Glockner.com.
Hey, it's Big John here. You looking for a smile transformation? 36 years of experience. Who has that? Thompson Orthodontics does, and they're going to offer personal orthodontic care, traditional braces. How about a flexible payment arrangement just for you? And they'll bill all insurance and West Virginia Medicaid. Experience the friendly, fun atmosphere and meet the amazing staff. My daughter Ruby had to have braces. That's where we went. She has a perfect smile, and I'm telling you, it's just a phone call away. Visit Thompson Orthodontics online at yoursmilingfaces.com today. Tell them Big John sent you.
Our Kindred Communications family of stations reminds you of the need for blood donations to the Red Cross. Blood is always needed. It may save your life or the life of a loved one. This reminder is brought to you in part by
Ohio Valley Bank, dedicated to giving you the financial answers you deserve. Member FDIC. Carmichael Sales, carrying a great selection of used tractors, hay, and tillage equipment. 798 Pinecrest Drive, Jackson Pike. Secure Construction Company in Huntington. Secure Construction is home improvement in secure hands. SecureConstruction.com.
Thoroughbred Express Car Wash. Sign up today and your first month of any membership plan is just $10. Any single wash or membership includes Howard Vacuums, Rhino Mac Cleaner, Cleaner Spray, Microfiber Towels, Bay Trash Cans, and even Air Purge Gun Tools. Follow us online at thoroughbredexpress.com, Facebook, and Instagram for all updates, news, and promos. Thoroughbred Express Car Wash, where every wash is an adventure and every day is a shining opportunity. Check out our locations at Howell Greer Boulevard, Route 60, Hurricane, Tays Valley, Cross Lanes, Charleston, South Point, Ashland, and Maysville.
Here's another Kindred Communications community chatter. The Cabell Huntington Health Department's conducting a series of evening vaccine clinics this summer. The dates are June 3rd, July 1st, August 5th, and September 9th, taking place from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. at the department at 703 7th Avenue. No appointment is necessary.
This Kindred Communications community chatter brought to you by the providers at Marshall OBGYN, online at marshallhealth.com/OBGYN.
Ladies, prioritizing your health starts with Marshall OBGYN. From screening exams to disease prevention to management of reproductive problems, our team offers a complete range of services for women of all ages. Thinking about growing your family? Marshall OBGYN's physicians are experienced in providing you the support you need for normal or high-risk pregnancies in a friendly, family-oriented environment. Learn more at marshallhealth.org/OBGYN.
Introducing In Your Business, a podcast highlighting thriving Huntington area businesses. Presented by Moses Auto Mall. Online at mosesmeansmore.com. In Your Business tells the story of Huntington successes and where you can gain invaluable insights and advice from seasoned entrepreneurs. Produced by Kindred Communications and the Huntington Regional Chamber of Commerce. Find it on kindredcom.net, huntingtonchamber.org, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
160,000 kids stay home from school every day for the same reason: bullying. This is Dale Lee, president of the West Virginia Education Association. Bullying impacts nearly 1/3 of all students every year, but parents, educators, and concerned adults can make a difference. It takes just one caring adult to intervene and help stop the bullying. Victims need an adult that will listen, will stand up for them, and most importantly, show them that they are not alone. Bullying and cyberbullying have far-reaching effects, from a decline in academic performance to physical illness, depression, or worse. Help us create a safe, bully-free learning environment for all students in West Virginia. One caring adult can make all the difference. Take the pledge to be that adult at NEA.org/bullyfree.
A message from the West Virginia Education Association.
You're listening to The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Winner of the 2024 West Virginia Broadcasters Association Excellence in Broadcasting Award for Best Talk Show.
Welcome back to our Thursday edition, The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Our text line this hour is 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Well, the herd got bigger today, but it's not the football team, actually. We got several additions to several teams. Let's start with softball. Marshall making it known that Jules King from Steubenville, Ohio, is now a part of the Thundering Herd. She's a transfer from Tiffin University. She's pretty skilled as a pitcher. She is very versatile, as sort of what the early scout on her is. She very good as far as batting's concerned. She was named to the 2024 All-GMAC second team. She earned a lot of recognition and pitching categories within the conference. So she's from Steubenville, Ohio, played at Tiffin University. That's D2. She's 5'6". She bats left and she throws right. So Coach Z picking up a pitcher today that hopefully will be a strong addition for the Thundering Herd. And then women's soccer. We don't know much about her, but Rebecca Heath is the new addition to the soccer team. She played for #United Reserves, and that's all we know really about her. We put our crack investigative team on this. That's our intern, Ben Anderson. And he looked at me like, I got nothing on her. So that's it. That's all we got on her. But, again, Marshall on the women's side trying to build this team up a little similar to what the men have been able to do. A lot of international players coming in to play for the Thundering Herd. And then on the volleyball side, Kenzie Schoenhart. She is from Gilbert, Arizona, and she did actually attend the University of Arizona. She's 5'9", so she's a transfer, bringing in a lot of experience as a libero and a defensive specialist to the volleyball team. She has got a background in both indoor and beach volleyball. I'm not saying that beach volleyball is coming to Marshall, but I've kind of heard those conversations, and she was a pretty good high school player. Defense is really her specialty, though. That's going to be where she's going to be utilized the most, it looks like. And, of course, we'll get the word from Ari Agnes down the line on her. So those are some of the new additions to the various teams for the Thundering Herd. Love to know more about this soccer player. That's the one that I want to know a little bit more about because, again, soccer's coming up quicker than you think. I think we're technically about a month away. Not even that. We're technically a month away before we really get started with women's soccer. So hopefully the Thundering Herd will kind of give us a bio on all of these players because there are so many international players. It's a little different than trying to find somebody from a local high school or a transfer from a different university. When you go international, sometimes the coaches know more than we do when it comes to these players. So that's a rundown of what's happening for the Thundering Herd. Our text line's 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. That's our number to be a part of today's edition of The Drive here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. We'll get the text line going here in just a moment. We'll open that up for you. A lot of things to get into. Yesterday, of course, was a big day for the Thundering Herd. For those of you that have already signed up and got your subscription to Herd Zone Plus, what was it like? Did you like what you saw so far? Was it pretty easy to access the service? Did you enjoy the first piece of content? What was that process like? Let us know. Text lines 304-396-TALK. You can find me also on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Paul Swann. What was your experience like with that? Day one, of course, new service. You expect some bugs, right? Was it pretty smooth? Also, of course, the big one yesterday was Marshall and Georgia being announced for 2025 in Athens, Georgia. So the Thundering Herd looking to maybe go down to Athens and avenge that 13-3 loss back in 2004 when the Thundering Herd played pretty close with the Bulldogs. I know I saw a lot of chatter on social media. I don't know if I even want to say a lot of chatter. But as far as college football is concerned, fans are going to troll. Doesn't matter the team, doesn't matter the sport. Fans going to fan. And there were a lot of people that were not Marshall fans, obviously, but a lot of people, or some people, Athlon even wrote a story about it, trolling Marshall taking on Georgia. And that's all right. You can troll Marshall, but I don't think Notre Dame fans are trolling Marshall much anymore. You never know. That's one thing I will say about Coach Huff. For the big games, Coach has a pretty good game plan going. That's been a plus in his bag of tricks. You go into these bigger programs, these games with Marshall, Coach Huff not really fazed by that. That's one thing that you can take pride in, the fact that Marshall will be up for that game, and that's in 2025. I think the Thundering Herd will be ready for that. And, of course, Virginia Tech and Ohio State are going to be the big ones this year, and then Penn State in 2026, Wisconsin in 2028, and Marshall trying to build that resume. Here's the trick. Here's what Marshall has to be able to get accomplished as a program moving forward. Marshall's got to go in and play super tough against these non-conference foes like a Georgia. Marshall's got to almost run the table the rest of the way. If you want a spot in the college football playoff, Marshall's going to have to run the table the rest of the way. And maybe even Marshall gets an upset here or there. Like in 2028, you think Marshall could beat Wisconsin? Maybe. We don't know. It's a long way from now until then. I mean, could Marshall knock off Virginia Tech and play Ohio State tough? And then Marshall could go through the conference schedule and possibly win the division, win the conference championship. And then you look at that schedule and you go, okay, well, they played Ohio State tough. They beat Virginia Tech. They ran through everybody they're supposed to. I think they would be a better candidate for a postseason bid than Liberty with that trash schedule. I mean, that's one thing I will trash, is that schedule, because it was trash. Obviously, not the way this thing should have gone, with Liberty playing the weakest schedule that you could possibly play and get rewarded for. So Marshall playing a tougher schedule and a tougher league, Marshall's got to be near perfect to get that shot at a college football playoff opportunity. And, of course, we're a ways away from any of that right now. Marshall's got to get through the first part of the season first and then conference before we're even talking about that. But that's what I think the resume building is happening here. You're trying to build the resume for the schedule. You add Georgia, opportunity to look good, play well, bring home a nice paycheck. Text line's open now, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. This is The Drive. I'm your host, Paul Swann, on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies candidates with the right skills, sends you great matches, then you can easily invite them to apply. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. See for yourself. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/free to try ZipRecruiter for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Tri-State Coldcat Baseball is saying thank you with special free admission. Free admission for Country Legends Night with Rob McNerlin and free admission for Little Leaguers. Tuesday night is Country Legends Night. Wear your cowboy hat or cowboy boots and get in free. Music from Rob McNerlin beginning at 6. Wednesday night, Little Leaguers get in free by wearing their uniform jersey when accompanied by a separate paying adult. Be in the pregame ballpark parade. And it's Dollar Dog Night. The Coldcats take on the River Riders. Gates open at 6. Free admission to all Cowboys, Cowgirls, and Little Leaguers at Jack Cook Field.
Save big money now on pre-finished siding at Menards. Update and beautify your home with your choice of 13 timeless colors of pre-finished LP Smart Side engineered siding. It's durable and includes a Sherwin-Williams machine-applied paint warranty. That means no painting for years to come. View our entire selection of siding from LP Smart Side at Menards. #1 in customer satisfaction among home improvement retailers according to J.D. Power. For more information, visit jdpower.com/awards.
Save big money at Menards.
Our Kindred Communications family of stations reminds you of the need for blood donations to the Red Cross. Blood is always needed. It may save your life or the life of a loved one. This reminder is brought to you in part by
Assured Partners in Huntington, AssuredPartners.com, John Sang Ford, 195 Upper River Road in Gallipolis, JohnSang.com, Ashworth Heating and Cooling. Call or text us at 304-743-8896 or visit AshworthCool.com.
The Marshall Hall of Fame Cafe heard what you're craving and is here to satisfy your appetite for value. Introducing the All Mine for $10.99 menu for a limited time only at the Marshall Hall of Fame Cafe. Enjoy bottomless Fiesta Bravo chips and salsa, your choice of a chicken sandwich, or a Hall of Fame cheeseburger, fries, and a drink for only $10.99.
All that for $10.99?
No, all mine for $10.99. No rules, any day, anytime. All mine for only $10.99 from the Marshall Hall of Fame Cafe on the corner of Fun and 3rd Avenue in downtown Huntington.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your basement. There's a pair of overalls that overall you're not so into anymore. A perfectly good laptop that hasn't sat in your lap in months. And even more stuff, but still no jobs? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed, and they're the stuff inside your stuff. Even inside that winter coat that moved with you to Phoenix. Our job is to unlock those jobs, and it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover keytar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
This is The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
Final segment for today's edition of The Drive here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. I'm your host, Paul Swann. Our text line this hour is 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Texter says, Paul, the Mid-American Conference and Conference USA get more respect than the Sun Belt? I don't know if I agree with that. Of course, at the same time, Liberty did get into the college football playoff over the Sun Belt. And that's the thing right now, the Sun Belt. With JMU, if JMU can remain strong, JMU is a solid candidate. Obviously, JMU going through a transition now. Again, schedule is going to be a difficult thing. For one, you're going to be seeing a lot of the group of 5 schools maybe taking the one-and-done opportunities now. I don't think there's going to be that many of the home and away series. You might not see a Virginia Tech come into Huntington anytime in the near future. You're seeing one game with Georgia. You're seeing one game with Ohio State. You're getting one with Penn State. You're getting one with Wisconsin. But you got to take those revenue games, and you got to take those games to try to build your resume. So that's resume building right there. And then hopefully you can try to knock some of those schools off. Of course, Marshall, Virginia Tech is beatable, and that's not an insult to Virginia Tech. I just think Virginia Tech is beatable. And then you're getting into another tier with Ohio State, Georgia. That's another tier. I think Penn State is close to that tier. I mean, Penn State is Penn State. I don't care where they finish. They're still Penn State. And then Wisconsin, still in that tier, but they're not contending yearly for a national championship. Penn State probably will contend more than Wisconsin would. Ohio State's contending for a national title. Georgia's contending for a national title. And then Marshall's trying to have a good showing. Shock the world, right? That's what some of you have told me yesterday. The Herd's going to shock the world, going to go in and beat Georgia, which I'm excited for that opportunity to see. We're talking a year away. We don't even know what Marshall's going to look like this year just yet, but that's what you have happening here with some of the opportunities. It's revenue opportunities. You have Marshall on a bigger stage. It's now going to be important for Marshall to not have a bad showing. Texter writes in and says, what does that do for the resume if Marshall gets clobbered by Georgia? I appreciate that text. Well, if Marshall gets clobbered by Georgia, a lot of people are just going to look at it and say, well, we expected that to happen. Honestly, a lot of teams are going to get clobbered by Georgia. What's going to help Marshall is Marshall's not one of those typical paycheck games where you pay the team to come in, you clobber them, and then you had a good day, everybody goes home happy. And it helps it's an opener as well. You never know what a team's going to look like in that first week. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Texter just says, fans first day, August 3rd. Yes, we talked a little bit about that yesterday with Ryan Crisp. If you missed that interview, you can head back to our podcast and get that. We talked a little bit about the launch as well of the college football game. Fans first, big opportunity there. We talked about the launch of Herd Zone Plus. I'm still trying to get a feel from some of the Herd fans of maybe have taken the plunge on that. What was that like for you? It might still be too early to tell, only because they're launching it. You're not going to have hours worth of content. The potential is there. It will be coming. There'll be more content as we go, but we're getting closer to the start of the season, so I anticipate more things that'll be coming here in the near future. But yes, fans' first day is August 3rd. That is going to be on a Saturday. That was a fun time last year. If you didn't go, they had nice little activities. Yeah, kids were able to kick penalties. The volleyball team was there. The football team was there. A lot of the teams were there doing things. I think soccer won the day only because they had the nets there and they were able to give kids an opportunity to kick the penalties. Our intern, Ben Anderson, is going to try to kick some penalties this year. We're going to put him in net. Coach Grassy looked at me and said, you want to try? I looked at him and no. My knee's not going to allow that, Coach. My knees are not going to let that. We're not going to do that. Maybe next year. Maybe next year. Let me get into shape as far as my knees are concerned. So, yeah, let me know. Texter writes in, big boy football is on the line, offense and defense. Do we have it? We'll see. Appreciate that. We're going to find out real quick. You want to find out what kind of team you have? You're going to play Virginia Tech and you're going to play Ohio State. You're going to find out what you got real quick. There's not going to be a better opponent on the schedule than Virginia Tech or Ohio State for the Thundering Herd. Appalachian State, all of those teams, those might be fiercer games. Those might be more competitive. Those games might even be more challenging because, after all, we're looking at the conference schedule, and conference games do matter. So, App State, it could be more intense. JMU could be more intense, but you're playing big boy football. You're going to be playing Stony Brook, and then you're going to be playing Virginia Tech in Blacksburg. Then you head up to Columbus, Ohio. You got time. That's the one thing about the schedule. You're going to have a good gauge of what you look like against Virginia Tech. And then you've got a couple weeks to get ready for Ohio State. That's the good thing about the schedule. You're not going right into that. Virginia Tech, Ohio State. I mean, teams do that every week. When you play big boy football, of course, we're going to see how big boy football Marshall is, and that's a good point. I appreciate that text. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Something we really didn't get a chance to get into today was the NCAA case ruling, summary of Johnson versus NCAA. The U.S. Court of Appeals for the Third Circuit upheld a lower court's decision to allow the case of Johnson versus NCAA to proceed, in which college athletes claim they are employees under the Fair Labor Standards Act. The court rejected the NCAA's stance that athletes cannot be employees and directed the district court to use an economic realities test to assess the athlete's employment status. If the athletes are deemed FLSA employees, they could be entitled to minimum wage and overtime pay, potentially leading to significant financial and policy changes for the NCAA and colleges. This case was led by former Villanova football player Ralph Trey Johnson. It involves athletes from over a dozen Division I schools. They're arguing that their athletic work is separate from their studies and that the NCAA acts as a joint employer. And here's the test. The court provided the test for determining athlete employment. Does the athletes perform, or do athletes perform services for the school? Are the services necessarily and primarily for the school's benefit? Are the services under the school's control or right of control? Do the athletes receive compensation in return for their services? What's the compensation for your service? Used to be the scholarship. Scholarship used to be, that was the argument. You're getting a scholarship, and in return for the scholarship, here's the value of the scholarship, and in turn, you're going to perform. Now, the scholarship pays for their academics, but are they being fairly compensated? And it might be considered an outdated model. We'll find out. That's interesting because now, and it also could be based on, like football and basketball, those could be employees, whereas some of the non-revenue sports, there might be a loophole there where those student athletes would not necessarily be considered, depending on what the actual sport brings in. This is going to be interesting. That's going to do it for this edition. Thanks for tuning in. I'll be back with you tomorrow here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Have a great night, everyone.
Retransmitting in glorious FM on 94.1 W227BS Huntington. This is 930 WRVC Huntington, celebrating 100 years of broadcasting.